This is the Practical Homeopathy Podcast, episode number 124.
Hi, this is Joette Calabrese. My Practical Homeopathy is transforming lives all over the globe by offering health freedom. They say a picture is worth 1,000 words, but I say a podcast is priceless. I want you to hear in their own words how regular people just like you have reshaped their lives using the practical protocols I teach in my Practical Homeopathy. So, with the help of my reporter, Kate, I bring you this podcast series featuring interviews with moms, dads, teens, healthcare practitioners, and Academy of Practical Homeopathy students from all walks of life. With education, you can follow in these students' footsteps. You can eliminate your fear of illness and injury by learning how to care for yourself and your family. Like them, you can be in control without acquiescing to authority to live healthier, more autonomous lives. Indeed, you too can heal yourself and your family through my brand of homeopathy, Practical Homeopathy.
Welcome back to the podcast. I'm Kate. Today's guest is someone I've known for years, and I'll let her tell you more about that. But let's just say that what she's accomplished in the past 4 years has been amazing. I can't wait for you to hear her story. She will share some dramatic stories using homeopathy and some tips on studying homeopathy. So with that, everyone, meet Susan.
Hi, Kate. It's great to get to chat with you today. And I was so happy to get to meet you in November in Florida.
Yes, it was great.
And it's amazing how few years have changed so much for us. As you said, my name is Susan, and my husband and I have been married for 39 years, and we have 3 sons and 4 grandsons. We love to be outside, and we love to go camping and cook our food in the Dutch oven and just take our books and relax. And my passion had been homeschooling my children, and when they grew up and left home, it was a very good opportunity for me to plunge into studying homeopathy. That has become my passion.
Tell me, Susan, how did you first hear about homeopathy? Because I know we connected in a Gateway to Homeopathy study group years ago, and that's how we first met. But how did that come about?
Well, like many other people, I had a lot of health problems, and I had a team of doctors working on my conditions, and I was getting some help. They did the best they could. They offered me a handful of prescriptions, and I said, no, thank you. And my doctor said, I know these come with many potential harmful effects. So I had ongoing fatigue and many food intolerances. Anything I ate would upset my stomach. I began listening to medical seminars and searching for answers why I would have such painful fatigue, 1 good day and 3 bad days. So I was looking into this. There's a popular medical doctor talking about the MTHFR gene and mitochondria and your homocysteine levels. So I was plunging into that. And at the same time, a good friend said to me, you should really look at Joette's blog. She said, I've been helped with my food intolerances with that. And I was really skeptical because I had not had a good report about homeopathy. It seems kind of strange. But for my regard for my friend, and I knew she was a good researcher and her whole family relied on her for medical information, I thought, okay, I'll take a look. I was very pleasantly surprised.
That's funny. You were skeptical, you looked, and then you have really exploded from there, from that first interaction with homeopathy, I guess you could say.
Yes, Joette was different from anything I had been exposed to homeopathy-wise. She was a no-nonsense approach to health, and that really resonated with me. And I even saw that she had raised and homeschooled 3 sons in the country just like me.
Yeah.
I studied Joette's blog for 1.5 years, and I made a spreadsheet to record the remedies and what they were used for, and I put the reference so I could find it later. And I started seeing patterns of, wow, something like Hepar sulf is used for so many things. I'd better buy that remedy. And I just continued from there.
I'm going to interject because all of you listening today don't know Susan like I do. And Susan is a researcher and extremely detailed-oriented person. She is a hard worker. She studies thoroughly, and she really knows her stuff. So I think This is a good suggestion, though, for people who are wanting to learn more, just to look at the blogs and write down all the information from the blogs. And we have the remedy cards, right? So people could print those out.
Yes, those are wonderful. I have a collection of those too.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned that Samuel Hahnemann founded homeopathy over 200 years ago. The French would argue that he rediscovered it. Homeopathic medicines are well proven. The medicines haven't changed. The human body hasn't changed. Medical vocabulary has changed. We don't need expensive words. We don't have to research a homeopathic remedy for mitochondrial dysfunction. Instead, we can look at fatigue. We can say, what is the remedy for fatigue? And there are many. In my case, I used China, and it helped me. And I also studied deeper and layered another remedy that was in that rubric specific for strength alternating with great fatigue.
Now, what Susan's talking about there is she's using a homeopathic repertory, and that helps her to look up symptoms and what medicines might be useful for those symptoms. So that's some terminology that she's using that refers to how you look up symptoms in a homeopathic repertory.
Yes, so I don't have to worry about my mitochondria anymore. It's not that homeopathy is simplistic. It's just it's simpler to use and research what we're looking for.
Okay, so you started learning about homeopathy at that very basic level and seeing some results. And then what happened next? How did you take that to the next level?
Well, I had this massive spreadsheet with all kinds of remedies and all kinds of helps, which was fantastic. But I thought, there's something missing. And because I am self-motivated and a self-learner, I put off for a long time taking a gateway class. And then this friend that recommended the Joette's blog to me, I got with her and I said, we really need to have a gateway class. So I led it that summer, and I was really happy that I was exposing many to gateway information. And I realized, wait a minute, I need somebody to challenge me. So that's when I looked you up and joined in your class. I wanted to have a bigger group, and I wanted to have something that stretched me.
And that group has really grown for you over the years because you plugged in and you became friends with many of those people in the study group. Those friendships have lasted through the years, right?
Yes, they have. And I've gotten to meet some of them in person.
Yeah. So what happened next?
Well, one day my husband and I took a deep look at our budget. I calculated how much money was being spent on my hormone therapy and tests. And I suggested to my husband, I said, I've been reading on Joette's blog. I think I could do this. I think I want to just switch to homeopathy and save the money. And so it was a wonderful change. I felt better using sepia or ammonium carbonicum than I had in the 10 years of what is called biosynthetic hormone therapy.
And where did you find that information?
Joette has some blogs called Estrogen Dominance and Other Red Herrings, and the one called Strong Enough for a Woman and Saving Menopausal Women. Those are the ones that I really studied.
Okay. Well, and we can put links to those blogs below this podcast on the website too. So that's joettecalabrese.com, JoetteCalabrese.com. And those blogs will be on the website for reference.
So that one budget change alone enabled me to buy Joette's courses and start learning more. So I joined study groups to go through those courses. And at that time, I was still having a serious heart arrhythmia. One of the study group friends is a medical professional, and she said, I think you should study the Callies. And I thought, I went through the Materia Medicas and read through the Calli section, which is potassium. I found that Calli carb helped by arrhythmia and many other satellite conditions as well.
Awesome. So when you say I studied the Callies, you're talking about the remedies that the name starts with Calli, like Calli Phos, Calli Mur, Calli Carbonicum. So there's a lot of remedies that have Calli as the first name. So yes. I just wanted to explain that for people who might not know what you meant by Callies. So that's wonderful. That condition resolved for you?
Yes.
Awesome. Can you share some of your other wins? Because I know you've had a lot of other things that you've done with homeopathy, people that you've helped. So maybe you could share some of those stories with us as well.
Sure. So back in 2021, my husband and I got the severe respiratory illness that everyone was having. And we began dosing a combination that medicine that included eupatorium and gelsemium. This hit us so suddenly, just within a few hours, we were down for the count. But we got 3 doses of that combination down and we fell asleep. We woke up the next morning quite improved. We needed the remedies a few more times, but we were well on the mend, whereas others around us that had gotten sick at the same time continued to get more sick. It was a difficult time for everybody. About that time, a friend texted me and said, I am too sick to come to church today. And I said, I'm coming over. So I went over to her house and I left her some remedies and said, if you want to try these, see what you think. And she did. And she improved very quickly. She had a history of pneumonia, but this time she didn't get pneumonia. She'd never used homeopathy before and was immediately interested in what is this stuff. And so she bought a homeopathic kit and she enrolled in my gateway class.
Yay! That's so fun. I mean, it's great that you saved her from further sickness and now she wants to know more.
That's right. Now she's using Symphytum and Arnica for her knees and can't believe that she can walk so well.
Oh, that's a powerful combination. Yes. What else?
Last fall, I saw a baby have an amazing turnaround. The older siblings had had a cough and a cold, but this little baby got sick and he got severe very quickly. The older children had used aconite and bryonia and some ipecac, but he needed more. He had a lot of fever, he had chest congestion, and he stopped nursing.
Oh, no.
So the parents had a bag packed ready to go to the ER, which they lived just around the corner from that. So they were ready. But they called me to say, is there anything else we can do? Well, I'd heard that nausea had helped many with this type of illness. So I grabbed my remedies and my toothbrush and headed over there for the night. She already had nausea on hand and had given him some after our call. When I arrived, the baby couldn't hold up his head. I put my head to his chest and I could hear gurgling and rattling inside his chest. He winced when I touched him. He was too weak to cough. The mama gave him another dose of ipecac and some nausea and added Cabraco. The baby relaxed and fell asleep.
Wow.
He woke up about 2 a.m. and he nursed and was breathing more freely. He had firmed up and coughed up some phlegm. His mother gave him more remedies. When he woke up at 7 in the morning, he was a much better baby. It was like he had a mild cold now. By that afternoon, he was sitting on his own playing with toys.
Oh my gosh.
We were so happy.
Incredible. Wow. And so that was a really fast turnaround. I mean, the stories that you've just said are really dramatic, but I want people to understand that that's not always that dramatic. Things can take longer to resolve, but I know you have more to share with us. So I think there's a story about a spider bite.
Yes, some things take longer to resolve. So last July, I got a black widow spider bite. I've always admired those spiders. One time I put one in the freezer to show my grandchildren.
Oh my God.
And you can't smash them and still look at them, But they look so elegant. I mean, after all, what creature can have a big abdomen and still retain her hourglass figure? So I had just finished the academy and I was ready to celebrate. I had company coming for a few days. And I went out into the garden and I pressed my shin against the raised garden bed. I got a very painful bite. I looked around for a snake. It was that painful. I didn't see anything, so I went about my work. I went into the house and I took some ledum and some lachesis, but I didn't really pay it much attention. Life was too exciting at that time. And then I developed a headache and some severe abdominal cramps. And I thought, well, it's just because I'm busy doing stuff. And I dismissed everything. We took a walk with my friends and both feet felt very swollen and hot. But the leg where the bite was got raw and peeled, and a third of my foot was totally raw. And I remembered having a pebble in my sandal, so I thought, well, that's probably what it was. And I just ignored it.
Oh my goodness, Susan.
You should never do that. So I started getting sporadic numbness in my toes, and it went away. And
Don't
then when it
tell
came
me
back,
that you dismissed that too.
I did. We were having a lot of fun.
Oh my goodness.
And then I got a little numbness the next day in my knee, but it went away. The next time the numbness came, it was in my thigh. And I thought, there's something going on. I think, I was taking homeopathic remedies for the raw skin on my feet and everything, but I didn't really put the whole picture together until the 12th day after the bite. I didn't have any pain, but when I got out of bed, I couldn't put weight on that leg. It felt like my bone was broken. I believe that I was having a bone infection because, where the bite was is so close to the bone. And the venom disturbs the central nervous system. It causes very dark, foreboding emotions. This has become an involved case. So the allopathic treatment includes an antidepressant and a synthetic antivenom. I was determined to avoid those if at all possible. I was prepared to put homeopathy to the test. My training in the academy enabled me to take care of this at home.
Wow.
I recommend if you want to use homeopathy for a poisonous spider bite, buy the remedies now.
Mm-hmm.
You never know when you're going to need them. Use the survivalist guide. That was where I went to. That's what I studied. It's fantastic for all kinds of situations. But don't ignore your symptoms like I did. I believe it could have been much more quickly resolved if I had been more aggressive in the beginning with the remedies. But because I was ignoring it, it continued on until it got more complex.
So you just used homeopathic medicines to resolve the infection from the bite? How long did that take?
That is correct. From bite to where I had no more symptoms was about 2 months.
Wow.
But it went through phases, and I would have nerve pain. I would try to walk, and just all of a sudden my leg would give out. So I used a number of homeopathic remedies. It was complex, yes.
Oh my goodness. Well, that was a very challenging case. So it's pretty incredible. But I know I don't want people who are listening to think that, if you have an emergency, that you shouldn't go to the emergency room. Susan, you made that choice to use homeopathy, but we're not saying that you shouldn't ever go. So I just want to make that clear too. Yeah.
That's right. At no time did I feel like my life was a danger, but that's the choice I made.
Yeah. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about your experiences with the Academy and Mastery and what you're doing now, because you're in the middle of the Mastery program. Tell me about what's happening in your life around that. You're just studying, or what's going on?
Oh, I'm having the time of my life. I'm enjoying Mastery very much. We have a great study group. We're learning how to go deeper, how to apply homeopathy to so many things. My husband is extremely supportive of homeopathy and has encouraged my ongoing studies. And originally, though, this was all just for me and my health. We realized how many people are hurting and need help and are seeking help. And so I am seeing clients now and really getting to know people. And that's been a really great blessing in my life, to be able to see people be so excited about homeopathy and know that there are choices out there.
Yeah. And actually, you're very busy. I know that you're helping a lot of people. So that's great. I'd like you to share what your husband and his friend talked about. And it was funny. So can you just share that little story?
Okay. Well, my husband has been supportive, as I said, and he also has a great sense of humor. And so a friend asked him, he said, "Between you and me, does homeopathy really work?" My husband answered, "Homeopathy accomplishes the purpose for which I take it. Every time I take it, my wife feels better." Oh, I can live with that. His better health makes me happy.
So he was making a joke out of it, but he is supportive and he uses homeopathy and finds the benefits as well.
Absolutely. We had a friend here one time that I went to hand my husband the little dosing cup, and he holds his hand out without even looking up to take the medicine. And his friend said, "She's got you trained like a dog."
Oh, that's funny. I know, people who use homeopathy with their kids, the kids are so trained on how to use the medicine that they just open up their mouths and the parent just pops the little pellets in their mouth and it's like a little bird.
Uh-huh. One of my grandsons would count the little pellets on his tongue, the teeny tiny ones, and he always got it right.
Wow. Yeah, because they can be pretty small. So as we finish up the podcast, I would like you to share any wisdom that you have with the listeners, since you've been on this journey for a while now and you've really come a long way. What would you say to someone who is wanting to go deeper with homeopathy?
Well, I always tell everyone to take advantage of the blog. It's free. It's loaded with great information. And organize your notes to have them ready when you need them. You can study a lot, but if you don't have your notes ready for an emergency, then your knowledge will fail you. So be prepared for whatever situation you have by having your notes organized. And if you want to go further, of course, the information and the protocol courses are great. The Gateway is wonderful. You connect with a lot of people. And I highly recommend the Academy and Mastery if you would like to go that direction. It is life-changing. There's never a dull lesson with Joette. She is inspiring. There's a growing community of homeopaths trained by Joette, and so you can find us all at her APH alumni site to help with those more difficult cases. So at any level that you want to be at, it's all there for you.
Yes. Well said, Susan. I really appreciate all that you shared today, and you've had some great success stories and great tips. So thank you, Susan, for being here today. I really appreciate you taking the time and sharing all this wonderful information.
Thank you, Kate. I am so excited to see the movement growing. Homeopathy is a wonderful way to take charge of our health.
These podcasts focus on students of practical homeopathy who have learned how to take care of themselves, family, friends, clients, pets, patients, and even livestock using homeopathic medicine. I hope listening to this podcast has inspired you to follow in their footsteps. But this podcast is only a start. It's critical that you learn how to use these homeopathic medicines properly. So peruse joetteslearningcenter.com to find fun study group opportunities and in-depth courses developed by subject. With the proper training, you can join the tens of thousands of students before you in developing the confidence and competence to protect the health of your family and loved ones with my brand of homeopathy, Practical Homeopathy.
You just listened to a podcast from internationally acclaimed homeopath, public speaker, and author, the founder of the Academy of Practical Homeopathy, Joette Calabrese. Joette's podcasts are available on all your favorite podcast apps. To learn more and find out if homeopathy is a good fit for your health strategy, visit practicalhomeopathy.com.